Hello and welcome to a very special DF Retro Let's Play. With Halo Infinite coming out very, very soon, I thought what better time than to revisit Halo 1 than, well, this week, 20 years after its release. And the reason we're doing it today is because I've brought someone along who has never played Halo. Audi Surly.
I am here, actually in person again, and this is the very first time I've ever played Halo. Today is the first time.
It's fun. So, because, it's a very popular series, of course. I've been playing it since then. And I haven't seen somebody who hasn't played the game before play it. So, what we've done here is I did have him run through the very initial part of the tutorial just so you didn't look completely noobish.
Yeah, just
on the
bit
stream.
Noobish now.
Just a little noobish.
Yeah.
But we've kind of got the very base mechanics down. But I kind of want to discuss the technical and gameplay legacy of it as you make your way through it, and sort of hear your comments on the way it holds up today, how it compares to what you've seen of newer Halo games, and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I have been editing a lot of footage for your directs and stuff with Infinite, so I do feel like I'm very familiar with the preview of Infinite by now. So yeah.
Exactly. So Halo 1, 20
Okay.
years ago, obviously. I mean, I've done a whole episode on this on DF Retro.
That's right.
It's a big thing. It's obviously, this was Bungie's break into the console space, if you don't count the Pip and At mark with Super Marathon.
Marathon, yeah.
Which was basically like almost basically non-released in terms of that game, based on the prices of the few copies out there.
Yeah.
But this, well, I guess they also did Oni, so okay.
Yeah, they did
there was a
Oni.
different branch of Bungie that did that. But Halo, Halo,
You're too excited.
Too excited. But Halo was the premier launch game for Xbox.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily hyped up that way. And by the way, if you press the white button, you get the flashlight, which looks awesome. By the way, the flashlight here, per pixel lighting.
Is that so? Yeah, I can tell.
It was very new for the time, because usually games that did per vertex light, and you could actually see the vertices and the world geometry light up, like all the triangle edges and stuff, very roughly.
Yeah.
You don't get that here. You get this nice smooth flashlight cone, which is why it was one of the premier Xbox games. Not just because of the flashlight cone, but because it really showcased what was now possible on a console thanks to the hardware in the Xbox.
Right.
Like, you've probably noticed by now that this level is long.
Pretty long, yeah.
And it's seamless. Like,
Yeah.
you occasionally see those little tiny, like, now loading, please wait things, but it's so quick and brief that it's basically just feels like a seamless map, which was something that was really unusual to see on a console at the time, to have a game with levels this large and detailed.
Oh yeah, well, like, what would be your closest comparison to this game at the time? Like, as this was released?
I mean, that same year, the PlayStation 2 got a Red Faction, which had destructible geometry, but the levels were much smaller, and it was a less refined game. Go ahead and hit the flashlight, though. Well, it tells you right there. Actually, thinking of tutorials, one of the more interesting things we noticed when you first fired it up, so you use inverted controls. You can't go that way.
Cannot go this way.
Look right there to the right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you use inverted controls.
I do.
And you first fired it up, it was non-inverted.
No.
And you're like, oh, this is annoying. And I just said, just wait.
Yeah.
Reason being is that this game has that very clever introduction where it actually calibrates the suit of the Master Chief. And at one point it says, oh, there's something up with the calibration. Let's try to reverse that.
Yeah, which is cool.
And so I love how they integrated this into the world. Go ahead and melee that door. There you go.
Haha, cool. So you can melee doors in this, huh?
There you go. So, and melee is another very important aspect of Halo's legacy. So basically, Halo tried to solve a lot of issues with console, because first-person shooters on the PC, of course. Like, one of the first things, you have a lot of weapons, right? You play Doom, you use the number keys at the top of your keyboard to select your weapon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weapons. Halo was like, okay, well, how do we make this work on a console so you're not like cycling tons of weapons? And that's where you get the 2-weapon system.
Right.
Swap between weapons with Y. Why don't you go ahead and do it? Try the pistol out on these guys. The pistol in Halo 1 is great. And then the melee is another secondary attack that you have that you can use to sort of 1-2 punch your enemies, take their shield down, walk up to them, and smack.
There you go.
It's pretty effective. And then I don't think you have grenades yet, but grenades are another thing that you'll get.
Yeah.
And by the way, this area here, check it out. Look down.
That's where it came from, huh?
Yep, they're looking for you.
Huh.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, I was mentioning when we were going through that tutorial part, we don't really see this too much in gaming right now, but like the way they integrated the tutorial with story was really like smart. Like you mentioned the calibration and inverting controls. But it was just like generally how the suit, health replenishing, all that stuff worked was told quickly via story
Yeah.
points, and I thought that was so like a fun callback to this era. Put the
And I
flashlight
think
on.
that's really important to note because you mentioned Half-Life at first as like a
Yeah, yeah.
comparison point. Half-Life was only 3 years old by the time this released, right? Lots of games were drawing inspiration from Half-Life. But Half-Life's introduction, while cool, was actually very long.
Oh, it's long.
It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
long. Halo's is very short, but it gets the message across. It builds a little bit of atmosphere to kind of key you in on what's going on, and then it just goes. I think you want to go behind you.
Oh,
Oh, or over there, yeah.
it's like a war to my right. I don't have sound on so much, so I can't hear.
That's right. It's all for the recording.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm noticing. Yeah, so I didn't play this. I didn't have Xbox when it came out. I had a GameCube, I had a PlayStation 2, and I had a computer. It was kind of the first time I had computers to play on.
Right, right, right.
So the Xbox was kind of my blind spot. But I had a lot of relationship to the music because I did work on several of these video game symphonies in Europe around this time, and certainly after.
Pistol.
And I got a pistol.
So yeah, you were actually involved in the musical presentation of Halo.
Yes, I was, and I actually met Mr. O'Donnell a few times thanks to that work. So I got to talk to him about the music of Halo, just the atmosphere and the dynamic nature of it, which was very different from action games at this time.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
So, and I think Marty's work on Halo is very
Jump it.
important. Oh, you can jump it. It's very important to the.
You can. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, you have grenades now.
I do have grenades, right in the
Well,
butt.
watch out.
So yeah, his success on this game I think was very important, huh?
Yeah, and it's a style of music he had done before with like him and Michael Salvatore, I guess.
Yeah.
They did on Myth the Fallen Lords.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did work on Myth. I look
But
at that.
so yeah, and it sounds familiar, but it's definitely has its own flavor. They brought in the vocals. It's a very impressive score.
Yeah.
So here we go. So you've now escaped the tutorial ship. So
Tutorial ship.
what do you think about that? Like that's what it is, right? It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
tutorial ship that also builds the story.
So I thought this was a very neat way of getting me introduced to the game. I certainly got the sense of the combat. I'm very bad at first-person shooters, but I have to say that the way they integrated each kind of element gave me a lot of confidence in what I can do. So
Exactly. And also something else Bungie was known for at the time was they managed to tweak these right stick controls to feel pitch perfect, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the aiming, targeting your foes, like there's a little bit of aim assist in there,
yeah.
which is absolutely necessary to make a game like this feel good on a gamepad. And they sort of pioneered that in a way because there had been dual stick shooters before this, but they never felt quite right. Halo feels right.
So another thing I'm noticing just watching this, and I'll let the cutscene play a little bit, but just the presentation and like the cinematography. I mean, this is beyond most of the games that I can remember of this era, like
I mean,
releasing.
it's not quite like Metal Gear Solid 2 or anything.
No, but what is?
Right, but for a Western first person shooter trying to it was actually very impressive for the time. And also I like these loading screens.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is something Bungie was also known for was their loading screens in the Halo games. They're always very, very simple, clean, and you actually get music or sound during them to keep the atmosphere in check. There's no big tutorial messages or the kind of stuff we often see today. It feels well integrated into the game in a way that I like.
Yeah, at the same time as this was coming out, I was playing SmackDown 2 on PlayStation, which has like
Um,
these really staticky looking screens for 5 minutes. So quite the
So
difference.
now this is interesting. So basically, from what we've seen in
Wait a
the
minute.
preview of it,
Is it the same area?
this is the biome on which Halo Infinite seems to be based.
Oh, it's just based? Because I was gonna say like, oh, so they're going back to this area
This
in
is
Infinite.
this is not the actual
Oh,
area at all. It's just the entire look and
look
design
at
of Halo
this.
Infinite's world is based on this level. The thing is though, is this is just one of many levels, and each level has a different sort of biome.
Yeah.
So this is the one that takes place with all the pine trees. By the way, okay, go behind one of those pine trees.
All right.
Okay, one of the shorter ones.
Shorter one.
Yeah, just stand, go behind it on the other side, and then turn around. Now look towards the sky. Back up, back up. Back away from the tree, but keep the tree in view.
Oh wait, maybe you should do this so you
Okay, I'll do
understand what
it.
you're doing.
I want to show you this. Check this out.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
Look at the sun.
Oh wow, look at that.
This was one of the first games to do that, and I used to love that so much. It's basically the crepuscular rays that I love. It's like spilling through the trees,
So
and that was, oh wow, you better go take care of the
oh.
Covenant.
So
But
this game is how Alex discovered he was in puberty, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Which was like a few years ago.
Okay, so right away, this level sets the tone a little bit differently. So you crash here. The Covenant are now looking for you, right? So they're gonna start
Okay.
to send enemies after you. But this level is much larger in scope
Oh yeah, for sure.
than that first initial training mission. And also, when the enemies are all finished, and they're not yet, let's go ahead and finish this off here. Oh, see,
See my raw skills in
it's
first
okay.
person.
It's okay. I know you don't really play FPS,
No.
but the thing
Very
is
little.
Halo can be enjoyed by anyone.
Look at this guy. Take-
It's pretty funny, actually. The AI in this game is fantastic. It's very expressive. So look at the skybox. Like at the time, the quality of their skyboxes I thought was just second to none.
Oh
Like
yeah.
even the stars, if you stop moving the camera for a second, look, the stars are actually like twinkling, kind of.
Yeah, they are.
Like it's not just completely set. Or the water down below. If you look down, there's little rivers running through there, and they used pixel shader effects to achieve that. Okay, I'd get off that bridge.
Maybe. That's kind of cool though. Just yeah, the atmosphere there.
And okay, so these two things, these are called banshees, right?
Okay.
You'll encounter these often throughout the game, although more later in the second half, and you can actually fly these things.
Oh.
So this actually highlights something I love about Halo is the freeform nature of it in a way. Like right here, there's two banshees coming after you. You can take them out,
Oh, I
or they'll
can.
eventually go away. The problem is when you actually take them down, they crash, right? But
Yeah.
there are ways, if I recall, to actually get the enemy out of the banshee and steal the banshee.
Wow. Really?
Where you shouldn't be able to do that yet. I think it's pretty difficult, but I think you have to like target them specifically. Man, I need to confirm my memory on that, but I remember trying things like this. Basically, like, can I do this thing? And I find that compelling because this is where like the Warthog junk came from. Do you remember videos about that?
Yeah, of course. So was this also like was it this game or the sequel where that blue versus red series came from?
Yeah, that's right. Red versus blue stemmed from Halo
Okay.
because the multiplayer colors were red and blue,
Right.
basically. And
I remember that was a thing on like G4, was it?
yeah, I think it started out. I can't
Or
remember
was
where
it
it
Tech
started out.
TV?
It was pretty funny though. I think it was more just like on the internet.
Oh, was it? I seem
Yeah.
to recall I saw it on TV when I was in America, but maybe it was just my memory.
It may have aired on something like that at some point.
Yeah. Oh, so you can't take full damage if you drop.
In Halo 1, you definitely take fall damage, so
Oh,
be
okay.
careful.
Huh.
So, okay, this next area then, you can already see the Covenant down there. There's other humans down here, though, and this is where you start to have to sort of work with your teammates.
Okay.
So this part here, you have to defend this spire, and they're going to send in a few different enemy waves. It's a good chance. It's a wide open space. So For long distance, don't use that. That's when I recommend the pistol. The pistol's
Okay.
like a portable sniper rifle. Reload
Yeah.
that bad boy. You don't even need no.
Still getting the hang of the buttons.
There you go. You don't even need to zoom in on it. It's just the thing is scary accurate. It's unbalanced, but it's fun.
In the butt. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and you said there was like some aim assistance, and I can feel that
Yeah,
definitely
right.
there.
Remember your grenades too.
Oh, I have grenades. There you go.
So you see how everything is just sort of at your fingertips, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the one of the big innovations, basically.
Let's go up here then.
You see, they really brought these designs back for Halo Infinite, didn't
Yeah,
they?
this looks very similar. I mean,
Well, we've only seen the preview campaign so far in Halo Infinite, but that whole
I
that's
like
most of what they've shown, and it looks a lot like this.
I like seeing the whole like planet in the back there though. It's neat to see in the skybox there.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more atmosphere to the game than I expected. As I said, I never really played these games. I only had like some kind of clue of how they work. So I'm kind of impressed by just well everything really, the presentation and just how easy it is to play. Even though I'm not great at it, I mean I've only been playing for 10 minutes and I feel like I'm getting like pretty good hang of
Yeah.
how it works,
You have a good idea how it plays.
which for other shooters of this time was not the case because I would have played them more if that was the case. But I just felt they were too technical for me, and other people were just so much better than me in multiplayer, for example, that like I couldn't enjoy playing them.
And so multiplayer is a completely separate thing for Halo, but it's in here, and
Yeah.
that's what I played a lot in college. And I always thought it was very fun because it's very rock paper scissors.
Hmm.
Because like you have to know the way weapons impact the shields and the different. Like for instance, here's a strategy. Like you have one of the plasma weapons, right? You're firing it at. Everyone knows it takes down the shields, but it also slows your turn rate.
Oh, okay.
So if you're getting hit with plasma, you can't turn as quickly,
Huh.
which makes you an easier target, right? So things like that can be used to build strategy, and you start to learn the maps well and figure out where there's cool like sort of uh, secrets, if you will, like in Hang 'em High, I think it was, where you drop off the top. When you get an overshield, you get a couple seconds of complete invincibility right
Yeah.
when you touch it, which allows you to avoid fall damage if you fall onto it.
Yeah.
And so in one map, you jump off a very high place, land on the overshield, you survive, and if somebody else follows you, they either die from fall damage or they fall into the pit next to it.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting.
And strategies like that were very fun. Yeah.
So this is just about like taking out all these forces coming towards you then?
Essentially, yeah. I think there's one more wave maybe coming, and then they're gonna bring a present for you.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I like gifts.
So yeah, this wide open rolling terrain and having an FPS game with an area this open, actually, again for 2001 on a console was pretty much unheard of.
Look at that though.
I love
mean,
that.
that is
It's still pretty.
yeah, that's still fun today. Yeah, I'm impressed by just the scope of this. I mean, looking at this, I really wasn't any games I was playing at the time that compared to this. That's for sure.
Oh, enemies coming behind you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So all these designs seems to have come back a bit then, even like from the enemies and stuff, because I recognize these small guys from like the previews.
So that kind of gets into, yeah, of course these are the grunts,
Yeah.
the standard enemy in Halo, and kind of the jokey ones, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there is a bit of a comedic edge to it, which was typical of Bungie, I would say,
A bit of
in
the
their
Muppets,
games.
I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. A bit of some Muppets in there.
Yeah.
If only there was the chef himself in here.
Oh, the holo. I heard it was sure.
But so
Oh, these guys are new. They have the
the
shield.
shield, yeah.
I recognize their shields. It's also from the preview.
Those are also in Halo Infinite. They're jackals, and yes, and they sort of push you to aim around their shield to the little hole in the side there.
Yeah.
I actually find them more satisfying in this than in the Halo Infinite preview campaign, though.
Oh.
I thought they were a little bit more annoying in that
And
to deal with. Like, not difficult, just uh, the weak spot was less enjoyable to hit.
oh, so should I go up there then?
Just let's see. Wait for. Since we don't have sound on, we can't actually hear what's being said because there's a point where like somebody's talking to you and giving you an idea of what's to come.
Right.
So, oh wait, so there. It looks like there's more enemies on the red dots. This is the last wave.
Okay. The red dot. Seems kind of disadvantageous to like make a shield with a hole in it. They probably just should have gone with the full shield design.
Well, yes, but
I guess they shoot out of the hole.
Yeah, they shoot out of the hole.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes sense as far as like video games.
Alien logic. It's not the same as ours.
Because, so that's another thing. I maybe you're noticing it now, but one of the things I really like about this game is all the different enemy types have very specific patterns and types of attack.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to deal with it almost like an old school 2D shooter.
Right.
Where you just, okay, I see this enemy, I see this enemy, I see this group of enemies, and you just have to sort of learn to deal with them in that way. And I find that really satisfying.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look what they're bringing.
Give 'em hell. Roger, Fohammer. Stand by to evac survivors and transport them to safety.
And this is another awesome showcase of the controls.
Oh, see here.
This
Okay.
was very fresh. So go ahead and hop in now. Wait. Okay, there's already a gunner on there. So the gunner can actually get killed. So what's interesting about this, they describe it there, but essentially the driving works by you point with the right stick. So you point where you want to go, and it goes there. And it has really cool physics to go along with it.
Yeah, that is cool.
So it feels really cool to drive. And if you play this in co-op, which maybe we'll sample a little bit soon, you can have one person either hop in the passenger seat or the gunner while the other person drives. Good fun.
This is so satisfying, just like the drift on this.
Yeah, it is. If you do like a 360 or a 180, it's just like feels great. So you actually want to go over there, down into that hole in the terrain.
All right. Make our way over there while hitting every tree on the way.
Down in there in the purple zone.
Into the purple
This green
zone.
and purple color scheme of this level, I like it. I love oh man, fishtailing around in the Warthog. We used to call that coyoteling.
Coyoteling?
Coyoteling.
Is that what you do in the Nasty Natty at night?
That's right. That's exactly what we did. So also you notice they actually used essentially like bump mapping
Yeah.
in this game, which was another new thing for the era.
So just the architecture here is interesting now, though. Like all the texture work that's going on here. It's very neat.
Okay, you gotta get up speed to cross that gap. So
Okay.
yeah, this is basically, you'll discover like this is the forerunner architecture that kind of underpins the series, and so they kind of went for this very specific angular design. And I think it was both a function of hardware limitations of the day and also an artistic one.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's really brilliant in that way because it is attractive and spacious, and it gives it this really like large sense of scale. Okay.
Yeah, the scale is definitely what I'm noticing here.
Okay, so
Oh.
it's time to take out some dudes. So yeah, for the turret guy, just drive around the enemies.
And he takes care of the rest.
And he takes care of the rest.
So this seems like it would be a lot of fun in co-op then.
Oh yes.
So I can definitely see how that became a big thing.
Notice how all the smoke and the shell casings and everything that comes out when you're driving around. It's pretty awesome. Ooh.
He got it.
Sparks, man. So yeah, just kind of keep driving while not crashing, if possible.
Yeah, I'll try. This is like seeing me drive for real, by the way.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I drove you around LA. This actually is very similar to you and I.
I'm having
at E3.
flashbacks.
It's like, hey, John, jump in the back.
Whoa.
But you've noticed how this game has a nice flow to the level. It kind of guides you through each of these different types of scenarios. I'm still a fan of the level design and the way these missions are paced.
Yeah, yeah.
So back up, just go around that way. No, don't fall off though. Oh boy, this is tense.
Both at the edge of our seats, hoping I don't.
Literally, yeah. Don't fall in the pit, please. New driver here.
I swear, I've had my license for like 11 years.
Okay, so that you need to cross there, but
Okay.
as you'll see, the bridge is out.
Yes.
So
Are we gonna like Keanu Reeves this?
no,
Oh,
you got to get out and find a way to bring the bridge back.
I see.
So hold X, and your eye is drawn to that area with the green lights. I see.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how do you get up there. It's turn around maybe. It's over that way. You were in the right zone.
I was there.
It's somewhere over here. Left maybe? Yeah, right there.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So honestly, it's a very simple thing, but I find these sorts of like I hesitate to even call it puzzle, but it's a pseudo puzzle. I think these are satisfying and sort of scratch the brain in a satisfying way where it's just like you're doing some combat, you're in this cool space, and now there's a problem. How do you get across this thing? And then you stop, you go find the switch, and then you continue. So there you go, press the button.
Here's a question for you. Could the other consoles at the time have run this game as well as the Xbox?
Certainly not like this.
Okay.
I'm sure they could have done a version of Halo, but it would have had to have some pretty significant changes to the visuals and probably the scale of the level. I mean, the Xbox had at least double the amount of memory of the PS2, which had more memory than GameCube.
Right.
On top of that, it had a hard drive, which it did use for caching of this game, and it had a more capable graphics processor in general that was more focused on the types of techniques you see in this game, like programmable pixel shaders. It was one of the first earliest examples of it. So there's so much going on, but they found ways to fake this with some ports, but I don't think Halo would have been anywhere near this good on the other machines.
Right. Yeah, because this really is a showcase of the Xbox then, huh?
Exactly. I mean, GameCube and PS2 during this time, they had some very beautiful 60 FPS games. This is only 30. But the reason it's 30 is because of the scale and just complexity of what they're simulating. So it showcased the system in a different way.
And so far I wouldn't say that like being at 30 it hurt the game.
No.
Like,
Especially, I mean, this was like a year after Perfect Dark on N64, right?
oh yeah. Which ran terrible.
So we can't hear the sound, unfortunately, but this is the kind. So you're driving through these tunnels, right? You get to this next area, and then you turn the corner, and you get these cinematic title bars where watch. There it goes. It letterboxes, gives you the name of the chapter, and then the music dynamically starts to fade in. You know something's up, and I always thought that was just. It was a great way to build this sense of tension and like really enhance the pacing as you move between areas.
Yeah, like I'm very impressed by this game. I'm very late to the party, obviously, but I'm still impressed by it today, so it's really interesting for me though, having edited some of the directs with so much Halo stuff recently. Oh, and then now seeing this area, which I had no idea about until now.
Yeah.
And it's so similar. I would just have thought even that like this was like a multiplayer remake map or something. But as you told me, this is apparently not the same area. So...
I think that this area actually served as the entire basis of Halo Infinite's campaign. Because at this part right now, you now have 3 objectives where you can go to these 3 places to rescue some Marines. and you're basically fighting off Covenant in these areas in a somewhat free-form fashion. And that and the aesthetic, I really think that this is the level they looked at when they said, well, let's bring Halo, let's bring back the old style of Halo, because Halo Infinite is a return to that, because 343's Halo 4 and Halo 5, they went in their own kind of artistic direction, and they introduced enemies that are very different from this, and I generally don't think they're as beloved, certainly not by me, compared to these, so I can see why they wanted to go back to this.
Right.
Man, that Xbox controller sure does rumble, though.
It certainly does. So much so that, like, my hands are kind of, like...
Numb?
A little bit numb from having played this only a little bit, but hey, they're made for big hands, so...
What do you say we swap over and try to do a little bit of two-player co-op in split screen?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
So first of all, you notice, at least in split screen, even though the resolution is very low, you get this like super wide view of the action.
I was going to say, this is quite wide. That's interesting, though. I mean...
So...
And that's not adjustable, I'm guessing, for this era.
No. That's just how it plays.
So there you are.
That's right.
There I am.
So there we go. So let's just go back here, because, you know, the Covenant are coming as they did before. And again, having a game like this big campaign, playable in split-screen co-op in this way was really awesome at the time.
Yeah, hopefully we get to the Warthog, because I want to see how that works from a split-screen perspective.
Yeah. Let's aim for it. Maybe we can even fast forward to certain parts. Jump cut. Okay.
So they're gonna drop those dudes.
So waiting for them to come on down. Too early.
I accidentally dropped a grenade. That happens too.
Yeah, from time to time.
The whole time. So, oh, there you go. Jump straight at. Now, am I correct in saying that there was a remake of sorts of this? Wasn't there like a Master Chief collection or something?
So there's essentially they did a release in 2011, I think, called Halo Anniversary.
Okay.
And that was for Xbox 360. And they sort of did this thing where they redid all the graphics, but also kept the original graphics, and you could toggle between them in real time.
Oh, really? Can you? Okay.
Which was really cool. And then they released all of the older Halo games in the Master Chief Collection on Xbox One some years later, and that has continued to be updated and patched with tons of great content. But that also has that feature. You can toggle between the two graphic styles at will. And it's awesome. It's a really good version. We actually thought about looking at that, but because this is DF Retro Play, I thought it was better to play it on an original Xbox.
Yeah, I really wanted to just see, even though it's because you could switch between, I kind of wanted the authentic. Oh, look at that. He's just caught in a tree or something.
It helps you appreciate it more, I think.
Yeah, because I'm seriously impressed by this, and maybe even more so because we're playing it on the original hardware. So... And we have to give another shout out to a man we've shouted out so many times, but Mike and Cheese RetroTink works wonders.
Oh, I can't get in it, dang.
Oh, we can't hijack it now?
Guess I can't, maybe. Oh. Oh well.
But yeah, the RetroTink really works well with the Xbox.
Yeah, we're using that right now. Whoops, I was looking at the waveforms. Yeah, so this is obviously running in 480p using component video. And... Dang, I am really still impressed with how good this works in split screen mode.
Yeah, like this isn't bad at all. Like, it is wider, but I guess that gives a sense so that you have more of an overview.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The only thing is, I'm using I swapped to a slightly different Xbox recently with a physical mod chip in it.
Oh.
And it doesn't have my original saves on here, but my other Xbox still has plenty on here. That's why we're kind of stuck in these early stages. But
well, this makes for an interesting comparison to Infinite, though. This area, at least,
doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, this is pure. I mean, this is exactly what Halo Infinite was inspired by. You can see the frame rate does does drop pretty hard because we're asking a lot of the poor Xbox here. But again, Perfect Dark 1 year earlier,
Which, yeah, ran worse than this in single player mode. So.
much worse. This is about the best it actually ever ran.
Is that a good guy?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, let's take out these guys again. They're going to be coming up here shortly.
How many Halos were there on the original Xbox?
2.
2? Okay.
And then several on 360. Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, Halo 4. Halo 4 is where it changed hands to be developed by 343.
Right.
Which is the studio Microsoft sort of built to handle the Halo franchise when Bungie went independent.
They've done a good job, though.
They've done pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I still prefer Bungie stuff in general, but I do think 343, they're doing what they can. And Halo Infinite, what I've played so far at least, it has its flaws, but I like it. And I think it feels like a nice throwback in many ways to this.
Huh.
But it's trying to do some new things as well, which, makes sense, I guess. So yeah, go take out this guy.
It's fun to play co-op, though. I'm feeling kind of like... I don't know. It's a similar feeling I had to when RE5 came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't mean the gameplay, but I mean, like, the atmosphere of playing together with a friend. Like...
It's absolutely that kind of thing. It's really great.
I don't know what it is. It might be just kind of me being nostalgic for that time in my life, but I just kind of feel like co-oping in older games was a different experience. I don't know what it is.
Because it was much more focused on the local experience.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly it. Okay.
These days, not so much.
Yeah, and I do not like online play. I have to be
I don't really like it either.
So, I don't like the experience of it. I generally don't find good user experiences with it. So that's my experience, though. So,
yep.
For those who have great experiences, please continue to enjoy them and don't worry about how I experience them. People coming here.
Okay, so that was...
You can see the shadows here on the ground as well. Oh, popped in and out, but that's fine.
Also, the shield system this game uses was really cool at the time, and that's what allowed difficulties like Legendary to become so fun. Because you notice you can take a certain number of hits and then hide and recover your shield.
Right.
And that made it so like you're not always just losing health, which made it, basically evasion became important.
Huh. Yeah. What is your favorite Halo then? Because as you mentioned earlier, you name called them all, but like there's so many, and I don't know.
Oh man, that's
the
so
differences.
difficult. Oof.
I know it's a hard question, isn't it? Whenever you're a fan of something that has...
Yeah, I mean, I like, especially Bungie's Halos, I like them all for different reasons. Like, especially something like ODST, I would be very curious to see your thoughts on that, because that takes place on a city at night in the rain where you're dropped in, and essentially you're exploring this city overrun by Covenant that's been abandoned by the humans. It's very eerie, and you're finding these chips that sort of like are recordings of memories of other soldiers that had fallen there. And then you play through essentially what they saw, and that's the main missions. But in between, you're exploring this huge city, and it's just such an atmospheric. They use a lot of like saxophone style, like rich music. It's a really, really cool game.
Well, if the audience watching this wants to see me for the first time play ODST, was it?
Yeah.
Let us know, and I think I want to check out more Halo. To be honest,
Heck
based on this experience, I definitely would.
Ready to go coyoodling?
I definitely am.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Who's gonna take the turret though? Who's gonna be the Swedish chef?
I'm gonna drive. You're gonna take the turret.
All right,
if that works.
that's fine. Okay, so you have. I thought they would maybe switch to like a first-person view.
No,
on this
but
side.
it's surprisingly easy to control, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
You still, even me driving around like crazy, you can still aim very well.
Heard of her. Heard of her to her. All right.
Let's go. Yeah. Just the feeling of driving this thing is awesome.
So how long has it been since you played this original?
The
Like,
original?
Yeah, on Xbox.
Sometime this year.
Okay, so it's not too long ago.
No, I mean, I replay parts of the Halo games fairly regularly because they're just so darn satisfying.
I feel like there's who was the other guy that we know that hadn't played this? Is it Try from My Life
Yeah.
in Gaming?
Yeah,
he
yeah.
also he and I were like the last holdovers.
Yeah, that's right. Neither of you get now. Now he's the last holdover.
Yeah, I guess we got to do a video of him as well playing it for the first time.
Could do the Xbox One version and get some co-op, online co-op.
Oh yeah, that would be fun actually. So how many on
And
that
Ha-
one?
and-
How
In
many?
Halo 1, it's still just two, I
Two,
think. Whereas
okay.
in like Halo 3, you can do 4, I think. 4-player co-op's pretty nuts, actually.
I see.
You know, the fact that Halo Infinite doesn't launch with co-op remains very disappointing to me because it was such a central part of the
Yeah,
game.
that's surprising based on just how fun at least this is. So there's no co-op at all in Infinite?
Not yet. They said that it's planned for like next May at the earliest.
Next May?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So,
Here, I'm gonna pull this up here.
okay.
I'm gonna go get the Switch. You take out enemies,
Alright.
and I'll take them out if I see them.
Yeah, if they're in your vicinity, you take them out. Well,
You guard the car.
I'll guard the car. That's right.
Oh, dang it. I didn't configure my controls yet on this profile. Because normally I change melee to be click the right stick,
Ah, okay.
which is much easier, I think, while looking, but the default was B.
Yeah, because for me, with the melee earlier, I had to move my phone
Yeah, exactly.
so much.
That's why I switch it.
So
I think it's the
kept-
green thumb option.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. They don't show the little cutscene, I guess, when you're in co-op. I forget about that. Okay, so this guy over here.
You see him, you take him out. I can't see
He's
anyone
down.
near the car, so...
Okay, you successfully guarded the vehicle
Yes, from no one.
from no one. Just the Swedish chef.
Well, he's in the car.
Oh, yes. All right, let's go. Ooh, a little chop. Dang, this still looks good, though. I just... The visual design in this game is timeless somehow.
This bridge right here reminds me of Flashback, the first stage.
Oh, yeah. It is like that.
Just, it's very open. Like, everything feels very open and generally, and I know this is a kind of bad thing to say, I guess, about shooters, but I found them very corridory
Yeah.
overall, whereas this, obviously, when I look at just the scope here, it feels very open and I feel like I'm very free.
You say that while we're in the corridor, but I actually think the fact that there are corridors in this contrasted against the large outdoor spaces is what makes it so interesting.
But even the corridors here, though, have
They're
a lot
big,
more
yeah, they're wide.
yeah, and serve kind of cinematically a purpose. So
Reunion.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually where we were.
Yeah,
So we got there faster together.
exactly. You know, once you learn the game, you start playing on higher difficulties. Like mastering each stage becomes really enjoyable because
Yeah, okay.
each challenge is kind of bite-sized, right?
Right.
You get a checkpoint when you enter an area, so you can die as much as you want and just keep going at it until you learn it. It's very satisfying.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
So here we're just gonna go canoodling around, blasting Covenant.
Are there like sandboxy element to the game as well, or?
This is the sandboxy element.
Okay.
This is about as sandboxy as it gets.
Yeah. Okay.
Although the multiplayer mode, you can create a lot of game modes and do some really wild stuff in there, which is cool at the time.
Because I do remember that the multiplayer was so popular with my friends, and
Me
you
too.
know, I thought it was just kind of like at the time CS was the big thing. for
Yeah.
Norwegians. So I'm the product of a little bit of kind of bad
Why
impression.
don't you get a health pack?
Right. I'm kind of unfortunate in that I got some bad experience with like CS and whatnot for shooters. So I just didn't have a very positive look on them.
I never liked CS myself, to be honest. I
Well, it's
respect it, but
be here as well.
yeah, you waste ammo when you do that. So the turret is infinite ammo.
It's fun that they give you the option though.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, did you land a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Did you hear of the gathering ever? Like,
I've heard of it.
yeah, because I went there once, and
That's
I
pretty
went there
intense, right?
once. Yeah, it was quite intense. That's where you find like the people who have like an aquarium built into their computer, and like they play like
Oh, there's a cover.
techno music that somehow like uh, alter your DNA. Like, just it's just weird to be there.
The Gathering. That's it.
Yeah, the Viking ship.
Oh man,
That's the stadium it was at. I think it's still going on, but I was like, this is in the 90s, so
very different time.
yeah. Well, I think it is kind of similar still, believe it or not. I saw some footage for not too long ago, and I was surprised to see how little we've changed when it comes to the land stuff.
Oh, you pretty much wiped the floor with them.
Well, I am a chef of the Swedish variety.
Oh yeah. Dang, without the sound, it's hard to know exactly what
Yeah.
where we're at. Because normally, Cortana will talk to you and like you have a better idea what's going on.
Now, when they made Cortana real on your computer, John, on Windows, were you happy? Did you start using
I
Cortana?
didn't use it because I don't like voice-driven assistants at all.
I see. So you were not one of them.
No, I didn't. I did not enjoy that. I mean, it's clever, I guess, but not for me.
They kind of stopped touting that very quickly.
I mean, it's gone now.
Yeah.
They patched Cortana out.
Yeah. Wasn't one? I guess that goes kind of into spoilerish territory with Halo games, but wasn't there one of them where Cortana was evil or something?
Yes.
Okay. I just remembered it was like articles about it.
That's kind of interesting. Articles written directly about stories. For I guess people do that all the time. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Checkpoint done.
I I can definitely see why this was popular, you know, and I'm somewhat surprised I've never even seen much gameplay of this until 2021, end of 2021.
Yeah.
But I really just did not have an interest in these games until we started hanging out, and you were just like, I really don't think you have the right impression of Halo,
No.
and I was like, maybe you're right.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we just look at this too, like the scenery. It's just
It's great.
yeah.
So yeah, this is the second of three. I think we finished the last part. I hope we did.
I think so.
So this one is set around on the hills here. So it's a little bit tricky for
Okay.
driving. Also the frame rate kind of drops like a stone in split screen.
Makes it a little bit harder to aim at 12 frames per second. Probably not that low.
It's not
but,
that low.
Can you
Look
tell
behind you.
by eye just how many frames this would be?
Actually, we are getting into the 15 to 20 range
Okay.
at points. I wish I could measure this, but analog frame rate analysis is really annoying.
Yeah,
It's possible, but fiddly.
yeah. I've noticed that when we try to do it for another video we did, you struggled to get it.
The reason comes down to when you're using an analog cable, there's like actual like noise
Noise.
in the cable line, just
Yeah.
inherent. And if you look closely, you'll actually see it change every frame. Whereas like a pure digital signal doesn't do that.
Right.
So the few times when I've done it, it required like frame by frame hand manipulation.
Which isn't fun.
No. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I mean, for the little gain in these videos, because like
That's why I like consoles that have HDMI solutions, like the DC digital or
Right,
N64
yeah.
digital or them, or you just then it actually is feasible.
Now, are there anyone that's working on like an HDMI solution for Xbox?
I thought Pixel FX guys were doing it at one point.
Okay.
I don't know what the state of that is though.
Huh.
I hope so.
Because that seems like a console that really would benefit from it, because this was like the cutting edge
I
console of its
agree.
era,
I
right?
absolutely would.
So, I think there's a lot of games. I mean, with the retro tank, it looks great, obviously, but I'd be interested in seeing a full digital solution.
Let's make sure there are no Covenant hiding in the area.
This is the second area, basically, from after the tutorial, but what was some of the other areas like?
So my favorite mission is probably still the Silent Cartographer, which is mission 4, which has you basically fly to this beautiful like island. Like it still has a little bit similar terrain, but it's much more like red sandy textures and like rich green grass and like super bright blue skies.
Huh.
And you're essentially infiltrating the structure inside the center of the island.
Okay.
And you can drive all the way around the island, go up, around, inside, on top of the island, and then down inside the structures. And it's just an amazing mission. The pacing, the visual design, I love it so much. Okay, I
That's a good
guess
guy.
we're probably done here.
I think so.
Oh, why does it keep glitching out like that up there?
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm assuming that Cortana has just spoken to us already and said, hey, it's all good.
Now, have you played this so much that you like know every mission by heart at this point?
Mostly, although, like, here I'm still turning myself around because.
It did give us a checkpoint. Oh, search for additional survivors.
We read you, Echo 419.
See, am I going the right way or is this back towards that first one? I'll find out in a second. I feel like this might be the first one. Yeah, I recognize that rock.
There's a guy up there.
What's he doing up there? But see, you can just kind of drive around in this area. I love it.
Yeah, it's very open for its time, yeah. Jumping with the vehicle so far.
A Warthog.
Yeah, it's fun. Is it up there, maybe?
Thinking.
Maybe they took cover in that structure.
There it is. This is on the edge of the cliffside, even. Frames.
Singular frames. Is there any game that you really like love, but like the frame rate you have to attest is like some of the worst?
I mean, Halo and co-op.
Okay, is this as bad as can you tolerate?
This is about no. So one game I did like back in the day, it now has backwards compatibility, but I actually enjoyed Advent Rising.
Oh yeah.
But I mostly played it on PC because I rented it at first on Xbox, and the frame rate is among the worst I've ever seen.
Okay.
I mean, also stuff like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye in their original form I like,
Yeah.
and their frame rate is kind of intolerable. Conker's Bad Fur Day, stuff like that. Like, they're cool, but man, the frame rate.
Yeah, Conquer I actually didn't enjoy much, but like and Perfect Dark I never had. I liked the Xbox remake way more than I did the N64 original.
Oh yeah, the actual remake is really good.
I played that at my friend's place. I remember when it came out.
Uh-oh.
Whoa!
Well, let's run around a little bit and take them out.
Is friendly fire part of this game as well?
I don't think so.
Oh. punched him in the gut and he ran away.
Gut bucket.
Gut bucket.
Going down underground here.
Oh, interesting.
There's just guys hanging out down here. There's like a little structure kind of built underneath that area.
I've called for an evac.
The good guys, right? Yeah, human.
Yep. Hey dudes.
How's
Let's
it
go for a burger. Ha ha ha.
There's only one man that can do that justice.
Richard Ledbetter.
That's right.
Okay, we got them.
What does Rich? Well, he's not here. I guess I can't answer. But I would be curious to know what Rich's thoughts on Halo was when it released.
That's a good question. I would also like to know the answer to this.
Guess we can ask him direct. I'll pledge on our Patreon and submit the question tonight.
There you go. Put yourself in as Mr. Bean. Hey. Oh, frame rate, man. This is a heavy mission.
No, it's really interesting to me having like my introduction to Halo is basically, hey, I watched a lot of your coverage in the direct, so I recognize all these elements now of like these enemy designs and guns, and it's all in Infinite, as far as I've seen, huh?
Oh man, we didn't actually get those survivors in that one area. I didn't go up to them, I think. Which I know where that's at. Where's the Warthog?
Well, it's on its head.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think it fell down over here somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere over here.
Well, it might have been blown up because it was like, oh, there it is. I don't know. I don't think we can fix that, can we? Whoa! What did you do?
You can always
No, someone blew me up.
you can always flip the Warthog. Climb in.
So that's interesting. So they knew of that.
Whoops. Oh. I'm sorry.
Well, another one that didn't survive.
I'm sorry, Marine.
The casualty of war.
The casualty of war. War never changes.
No, it just gets better performance on newer consoles.
That's right. It does, usually. Okay, so the first one, I forgot to actually... I couldn't hear what was going on. We didn't actually go up and greet the Marines up on the... Oh, no.
Whoa! Flip.
Yeah, they knew what would happen when you're playing.
I'm going to sit on your side for a bit.
All right, that's all good.
I'm just gonna
Let's
chill.
just do it.
I'm going to chill a bit with you.
Oh, yeah, driving upstream. Okay.
Oh, wait, there are people?
People. Covenant.
It's the Covenant, alright. Sorry. The Covenant is the bad guys throughout the whole series, or?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Wait, did I just... Which... This part... So this was here. I believe... So we went and visited these guys.
We did.
So they should be fine, because this is where it was glitching.
Whoa!
Okay.
Now, an interesting thing about the first-person shooters for me is that this goes for virtual reality as well, or VR. I don't know why I said it full. But I cannot play things today too much because I get motion sickness. It's a big problem for me, actually, when playing games. And first-person shooters, I generally have a very bad reaction to them, and I get very motion sick. But when I play shooters from this time, I really don't. Like, I haven't gotten too much motion sickness from this.
That's great.
And I wonder if it has something to do with the lower frame rate.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
I know a friend of the show, Thomas Nickel, he also gets a lot of motion sickness.
Exactly.
We've spoken of this a few times before. Oh, there's some...
Yeah, so this is the rocky area. Oh, there's still... Okay, we didn't finish clearing out here.
It's kind of... I know we're wasting ammo, but it's kind of fun.
Right, so these dudes, they're up here hanging out by the rocks, I believe. It is kind of fun riding around in that seat.
Yeah, shooting out the seat.
Oh, we saved them. Oh,
Oh, you
I
got
got
to save
fall
yourself.
damage. Oh no. I got the this. So
Oh, you told me that was like the worst thing to get in these games, huh?
it's not my favorite. We had some choice words for this one.
All
It
right.
has its uses, but I never liked using it. I don't find it fun. Although it would become known as like the noob combo
Oh,
in Halo 2 when you could dual wield, because you would use that to take down a shield and then another weapon to take down, I think, the SMG and this thing.
so one thing that I noticed on the Infinite footage was that you had like some kind of grapple hook or something. Like you shot some kind of thing out of
Yeah,
it.
that's new.
So that is that new to Infinite
That is
or?
new to Infinite, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was not like a Halo staple from back in the day.
Nope. Oh no, I did it again.
Well, you survived.
Woo. I wasn't even thinking.
So we're gonna follow these Boy Scouts, right?
So they'll take care of themselves, I think, at some point.
Okay.
Come over here and get the health pack. Oh wait, no, we actually go into the Pelican. That's right, because this was non-linear here. You could do this out of order,
Oh,
right? So hop in the Pelican. There we go. We beat the mission.
We should move out, Lieutenant, and then we'll need your help on a rescue mission.
So here we go. This showcases how things kind of change in this game thematically. So the next mission, it starts out as sort of a quiet, under the cover of night stealth mission, although it quickly turns into something else. Then you board that alien craft up there to rescue Captain Keyes and then get back out.
huh.
And as you can see, like the whole look and feel of the level has already changed quite a bit compared to the last mission.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is an interesting rifle we have here, though.
Sniper rifle. I really like the flashlight on this on these textures here. Gives it a nice three-dimensional effect.
So what other games were using flashlights like this at the time?
This was one of the first.
That was one of the first? Okay.
Get ready to move in to support us, Sergeant. The Master Chief is going to covertly take out as many of the Covenant as he can. Don't open fire until you hear the enemy return fire on us. That should let us see the element of surprise.
But I think that's probably going to wrap it up for this video. We've been playing for a while, so what are your first thoughts now? This, like you said at the beginning, this really was the very first time you ever played this game. So
The very first time I ever played it, one of the first times I've ever seen it at length. I've always just kind of like tuned out when seeing Halo stuff because I never played them. But yeah, I had a lot more relationship to the music, and it's fun to kind of put context to that music now, and I'm very, very impressed. So beyond playing it for just DFR play, I think we might even play this through together.
absolutely,
So
it's worth it.
yeah, I think I've kind of been, converted. I think I will definitely check out much more Halo. And you mentioned, was it the ODST?
Yeah, that's another really good one.
Yeah, so if people want to see that, that would definitely be down to checking that out as well on Let's Play.
Excellent. All right. Well, anyway, as always, thank you to everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.
First safeguard, first taking, first DVD.